Hi everyone, it's Brady Joker here. Yeah, I'm back. New camera and everything. Yay, I did it. I got a camera, a new tripod, don't have a microphone because I couldn't find one at Walmart. So you're gonna have to deal with pretty poor quality of audio if you don't mind. Today we're gonna be telling you what I watched in May. I know this video is super late, but as I just said, I didn't have a camera, so had to get a new one, which took a while. So here we are now. Shout out Karsten, you know the deal. Let's just get on with it. I started off the month with Gladiator. This movie's a ton of fun. It's sad at times, but I actually had a really good time watching this film. Russell Crowe gives a great performance, and Joaquin Phoenix is also really good in it. It's a great little protagonist-antagonist duo here. The film is kind of carried on their, battle, and it's really fun to watch and unfold. Then watched The Prestige. Love this movie. This is a Christopher Nolan, and I'm a pretty big Nolan boy, especially by the end of this month. I am pretty big Christopher Nolan fan. And I love Christian Bale, and I love Hugh Jackman, and this was just a match made in heaven for me, and it's all about magic, and I love magic, and I do some magic, and it's a lot of fun, and I love this movie. There's so many twists and turns that you just don't see coming, and it's just super interesting to watch these two characters and their battle. It's really good. You should check this one out, definitely. And then watched Memento. This is arguably better than The Prestige. This is another Nolan film. And the structure of this movie is kind of what carries it for me. You have the colored sequences going backwards in time while the black and white is going chronologically. And it's such a unique viewing experience as you try to piece together what all is at play in this movie. And I'll probably never see a movie like this ever again in my life, which is why I think I loved it so much. It was such a unique feeling that this movie gave me, and I loved it. Not to mention Guy Pearce gave a great performance, and just all the twists and turns, just like every single Nolan flick. I mean, it's incredible. Loved this one. And then watched Django Unchained. This is a Tarantino film, and while I'm not huge on Tarantino, as I know a lot of people are, this one was actually pretty fantastic. Jamie Foxx, Christoph Waltz, and Leo give top performances. It's so good. The characters in this movie are so well written. The dialogue is so sharp. And the action sequences are so well done. Just perfectly choreographed. I loved pretty much everything about this movie. This is a borderline 5-star, but I'm going to leave it at a 4.5 for now. I loved it, though. Loved it. Then watched Moonrise Kingdom. Now, I finished all of Wes Anderson's movies this month, and I'm not going to go into a lot of them in this video. I've watched a lot of them this video, alright? But I'm not going to get into the specifics of the movies just because I'm planning on making a ranking video once Asteroid City comes out and once I end up seeing it because it's Asteroid City. So, yeah, Moonrise Kingdom. Loved it. Moving on. Then watched Isle of Dogs. Another Wes Anderson. Loved it. Moving on. Then watched The Darjeeling Limited. I'm going to say it right now. This is his most underrated movie by far, and I really loved it. Moving on. And then rewatched Manchester by the Sea. I'm not going to get into this one a lot because I talked about it a bit in my last video, and also I have a whole review on the movie because it's that good. On rewatch, I honestly thought I wasn't going to like it as much as the first time, but yeah, I think I actually liked it more. I felt like the emotions were kicking me in the face harder on the second watch for some reason. It was really weird. I rewatched it with my mom. She loved it too. She gave it 4.5. I still think it's one of the best sad movies, if not the best sad movie ever. I mean, actually, but we're getting to it, don't worry. I then watched Emperor's New Groove. I'm gonna say it right now, without Kronk, this movie would be like a solid 3 because I honestly hate Kuzco. And I know the whole point is that you're supposed to dislike him, but I dislike him so much that his redemption arc didn't even feel good for me when I watched it. And I don't know, that's just me. It didn't feel satisfying because I hated him so much. Even when he changed, I was like, I still hate him. So without Kronk, who is the funniest Disney character ever, this movie would not be as good. But because Kronk is in the movie, it's like peak. I love it. It's like the funniest Disney movie because of Kronk. So, yeah. And then watched The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. I don't remember how to pronounce it. But yeah, this is another Wes Anderson, so I'm not going to talk about it. It's really good. Moving on. I then watched Double Indemnity. This was probably the biggest surprise of the month for me because I went into this thing thinking I wasn't going to like it all that much. I thought it was just a basic old black and white romance film, but it absolutely was not. The whole murder, the whole cover-up plot is awesome. The acting is great. I honestly loved this thing a lot more than I thought I would. All the twists and turns and the way that the movie intertwines all the different plots in this film is excellent. I really enjoy this one. And I do highly recommend this as a black and white film. It's awesome. I then watched If Anything Happens, I Love You. This is a short 12-minute film on Netflix, and yeah, it's sad. But I can't really rate it very high because it's 12 minutes, so... I mean, everything it does like, really well. It's just short. So yeah, that's the only thing I have to say about it. It's sad, though. Be prepared. I then watched The Philadelphia Story. This, well, it's boring. I thought I was going to like this one a lot more because I watched Double Indemnity and I didn't think I would like it, but then I loved it and I was like, okay, maybe I'm going to like Philadelphia Story. Yep, nope, boring. Without Jimmy Stewart, this movie would suck. Like, it'd actually be a 1-star without Jimmy Stewart. But because Jimmy Stewart's in it, you know, he brought it up. It got so bad so I fell asleep for like 10 minutes at the end, and the ending itself I hated. Hated the ending. It was terrible. Hated it. And I mean, yeah... boring. Ugh. It leaves me with nothing. I feel nothing about this movie. Then watched mid-90s Jonah Hill's directorial debut, and it was really good. I enjoyed it thoroughly. There were just, it's very unrealistic. I don't see this ever happening, but that's just me. The acting in it is solid all around. It's a really good directorial debut. I do want to mention, though, that the scene where the kid makes out with that girl, she was 27 while filming, and he was 12. I then rewatched RRR. I'm sorry, I can't help myself. I've now seen this movie 3 times. That's 9 hours. And yet, I would be so down to watch it again, man. This is one of the best movies ever made. It's top 5, definitely. It's number 5, but, you know, whatever. I love everything about it. It's perfect. I don't have anything else to say. I've talked about it already before. Just go watch what I watched in March, because I watched it in that month. Yeah, this movie is perfect. It's perfect. I then watched Book Club. It's basically Golden Girls if it was not funny and not good. Because, you know, I love Golden Girls. But this is not funny. It's just about these old women wanting penis. And it's not funny. I didn't think it was funny. Humor didn't work for me. I did like some of the characters and the arcs that they go through, but I mean, it's just stupid. Why am I talking about this movie? And then watched Breaking Away. If there was a movie that I could just unwatch and have nothing about my life change, it would be this movie. I feel so much indifference towards this film. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't good. It was slightly below average because it was so boring. I fell asleep kind of 15 minutes in the movie, and I mean, not 15 minutes in. I fell asleep like in the middle of the movie for 15 minutes. And it's just boring, man. It's not funny. I wish it was funny. Everyone was laughing, and I wasn't. And I was like, he's speaking in an accent. How is that funny? And everyone was like, it's funny. I'm like, no, it isn't. I don't know. It's predictable. It's fine. It's whatever. It's, whatever. I then watched Book Club The Next Chapter. And yeah, it's alright. It's not terrible. It's better than the first, because it's funnier. They're in Italy, and Italy is gorgeous. And I'm going to Italy next summer, and that made me excited for that. So, the characters are better in this one, I think. I don't know. I liked this one better than the first. That's just me, though. I don't know. Oh, and then I rewatched And Then There Were None. This is the mini-series that came out in 2015 based off of Agatha Christie's novel, And Then There Were None. And that's my favorite book of all time, and this is a 5-star. And I love pretty much everything about it. It's only 3 hours, and it's a mini-series, so I mean, that's pretty good if you want a quick mini-series watch. It's on Letterboxd for some reason, but I love pretty much everything about it. I love murder mysteries, and if you go into this one completely blind, you're going to have a blast. I don't deny it. I think that this is so overlooked, and I think everybody should watch it. It's on YouTube. All 3 episodes are on there. Watch it for Aidan Turner as Philip Lombard alone, because his performance alone is peak, but I mean, the whole thing is so good. This is how you do a book to film adaptation. It's done perfectly. And then watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, another Tarantino, and this one was, it was alright. It was decent. It wasn't anything good or really great. It was just fine. The dialogue scenes, nothing really happened throughout the movie. There isn't really any, like, big Tarantino moments, like, scattered throughout. Like, you always have that big Tarantino ending, but, I mean, you never really got, like, different actions throughout the movie, like in every other Tarantino. This one was kind of just slow plot and then the big ending. Nothing really in between, which, I don't know, kind of made the movie drag on for me at times. I also really like how they hyped up Margot Robbie as, like, a big character in this movie, and yet she's in, like, 5 scenes. And, of course, it is Brad Pitt and Leo together, and that's like a duo made in heaven. So I mean, it's not bad by any means. It's just fine. Like, it's decent. It's a good watch. Like, I enjoyed my time, but I wouldn't really want to rewatch it. I then watched Rushmore. This was my final Wes Anderson I had to watch, and I did. And I'm not going to talk about it, but I really, really loved it. So there's that. I then rewatched The Grand Budapest Hotel. If you want to actually hear me talk about this, go to what I watched in January and find it in there, because I talked about that movie. But I guess I won't talk about it here, other than, yeah, this thing is a 5-star, and it's Grand Budapest all the way. Oh, God. And then I watched Dear Zachary, a letter to a son about his father. Ooh. Yeah, remember I was talking about Manchester by the Sea, and I was like, yeah, this is the saddest thing to come out. Oh, wait a second. No, we're getting to it later. Yep. I would probably consider this the saddest thing I've ever seen in my life. You know. And I think the thing that separates this and Manchester is that this is real. This was a documentary by real events. And because you know that, it makes it so much sadder. I don't want to tell you anything about this movie. Don't even, like, read the description, alright? Just go into it. It's on Prime. Just watch it, alright? Oh, God, it's so sad, man, but it's so good. I mean, obviously, I gave it 5 stars. This is my only new 5-star of the month. I was just waiting for a 5-star to come, because in every other month, I had a 5-star in, like, the first week. I was rearing up the end of the month, and no 5 stars. And I was like, alright, this is getting weird, and then I watched this, and I was like, yep, there's 5-star. I think this thing is incredible. Yeah, it's, I don't know what to say, because I don't want to talk about it, but it's sad. There's a moment in this movie that is more jaw-dropping and just tragic than any other moment in any other movie I've ever seen. So, I mean, it's just, it all just hits you in so many times in the movie. It's, done talking about this. Just go watch it. Then watched Cutting Moments. This is a short 30-minute film, and it's, shout out Mr. Gigi for, I mean, recommending this movie. I mean, I guess recommending. He also did Dear Zachary too, but, I mean, yeah, this movie's weird, man. It's fine. It's pretty bad, honestly. It's weird. It's gross. I don't ever want to watch it again. Yeah, it's gross. That's the best way. That's the best word to describe it. It's gross. I then watched Howl's Moving Castle. Look, I'm sorry, I know a lot of people think that this is like a 5-star. It's not. It's like a borderline 3.5. It's like the lowest 3.5 I could give. I was being generous when I watched it. But, good lord. This movie is just all over the place. It's so unfocused for me. It just feels so unorganized. The structure of the plot is just so random. You just get random things thrown at you constantly, and you're just like, what is going on? The only good character is the main character and the kid. Howell sucks. He sucks. I don't know, the whole war thing is weird. It's just a mid-movie. It's decent, because the animation is nice. But it's just, it's fine. It's good. There. Then watch Death Proof. This is another Tarantino film, but yet this is better than Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, obviously. Because I think the dialogue scenes in this movie drag out a lot longer than they did in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. But Once Upon a Time in Hollywood didn't have any action in between. This movie had some really awesome action scene halfway through the movie, and then at the very end, you get one of the best Tarantino endings that I've seen, which is awesome. Now, people are probably going to be pretty mad at my Pulp Fiction review when I do eventually rank Tarantino films. But I do like Tarantino. He has a couple phenomenal films. I mean, Reservoir Dogs, but I mean, this one's good. I had an enjoyable time watching it. There are scenes in it that drag out way too long, but it was a fine watch. I enjoyed it. All the actresses and actor did really good. I enjoyed it. Alright, then I watched Roma. Biggest disappointment by far. I'm sorry, I know a lot of people love this movie. Like, love it. Carson. But it wasn't for me. And maybe it was the time and place I watched it. I watched it over at my desk over there where I play Minecraft, and I watched it at like 2 a.m. and I was already tired going into it. And probably not the best idea to pick a black and white, like, foreign language film at 2 a.m. where I had to pay attention. Probably not the best idea. But even so, I was not interested in anything that this movie was doing. I think it's a pretty film. The cinematography is gorgeous. And the black and white really does enhance it. But it is one of those things that I feel like would have been better if it was in color. I don't really get the point of it being in black and white. Even though it does look really nice. Just, there's no point. There wasn't a point to it being in black and white. It's not like The Lighthouse, where The Lighthouse could only work in black and white. This movie could have worked in color just fine. It just doesn't make sense. All the actors and actresses did great, but man, it's boring. It's so boring, and I don't need my movies full of action. I mean, my favorite movie of all time is a character movie, but this one just didn't work for me. I'm sorry. I do apologize because I did really want to love this thing, but I didn't. I honestly was pretty miserable throughout it. I'm sorry. This was the biggest disappointment of the month for me. I'm disappointed too, but I hated it, to be honest. Then watched Interstellar. Yep, another Nolan and another phenomenal film. Nolan doesn't miss, man, I'm telling you. Can't wait for Oppenheimer. I'm gonna probably rank Wes Anderson and Christopher Nolan like back to back, but I'm about to go to the beach for like weeks, so I might have to film there. Oh wait, I can't because my new tripod is short. I'm having to set my tripod because usually I'm standing all the way back here, and I'm not now because I have to stand my tripod on something. So, anyways, Interstellar. This movie just got better and better and better and better. It never dipped. It was just a constant gradual up. Like, yes, this movie is like a 3.5. Alright, it's a 4. Alright, it's a 4.5. Alright, it's a borderline 5. It just never, ever dropped. It started out weak, but it just kept getting better and better and better and better. And it wasn't like it started out weak, stayed weak for a little bit. It was like the first 20 minutes of this 2.5-hour film were like, okay, I'm not feeling it. But then it just spikes. Like, it's so good. The ending, I couldn't have written it any better. This film is phenomenal. Watch it. I then rewatched The Cat in the Hat. This is a cultural masterpiece. You got Mike Myers, peak. The kid who played Condor, peak. The girl who played Samantha, peak. And of course, Alec Baldwin. It's perfect. This is one of the best movies of all time. Then watched Zodiac. This was probably the strongest month in terms of 4.5s, because, I mean, when I look at the 4.5s that I've given out this month, they're all, like, top of my list of 4.5s. I mean, The Prestige, Memento, Darjeeling, Django, Zodiac. I mean, there's just so many high 4.5s on this month. Manchester by the Sea. I mean, good lord, man. This movie is fantastic. It's a borderline 5, man. I love the characters so much. They're so well written. And I know it's based on true events, but I mean, translating it into film is not easy, even if it's based on true events. You still have to make your characters. And I think the way that they portrayed it is so good. And there's so many great moments of suspense in this film. And it just really dives into the minds of these people, these 3 dudes, and it's so good. There really isn't any bad things to say about it. I think with time, I might even like it even more. I loved this thing thoroughly. And then I closed the month out with Spring Breakers. If you're horny, watch this movie. Or at least the first 30 minutes. Alright? I don't think I've ever seen this many boobs in a movie. Alright, I'm just going to put it out there. But I hated the first 30 minutes because the first 30 minutes was literally just these girls partying. That was it. It wasn't like Project X where it was like enjoyable party stuff. It was just boring party stuff. I was like, this is terrible. The dubstep music was driving me crazy. But then James Franco came in the movie, and I was like, alright, this is actually pretty good. It turned into this party film, into a gang film, and it was just such a drastic and nightmarish change that I was drawn into. I don't know, all the colors, the cinematography, it just drew me into the movie. And I loved it. Okay, no, I didn't love it. That was, no. I thought it was decent. It was okay, alright? I love how Selena Gomez just disappeared, like, halfway through the movie. And I thought she was supposed to be, like, the main character. She disappears halfway through the movie. Like, she just leaves. I don't know if she just didn't like the rest of the movie, or if she was busy. I don't know why her character was literally just written out of the movie. It was funny, but, I mean, it was weird. Alrighty, and that's what I watched in June. Hope you guys enjoyed this. We're halfway through June, though, and I've only seen 2 movies, which kind of blows. But yeah, hope you guys did enjoy. Make sure you like and subscribe if you want, and I hope you have a great rest of your evening, day, or night, whenever you're watching this. Alright, deuces.